things can happen when we're open. So I have a question for everyone. Does anyone have any idea why I greeted you all as goddesses and gods this morning? Okay, now here's the thing. Remember, this is a conversation. So I want somebody to say something loudly so everybody else can hear it for me.
Because we are?
Because you are?
Yeah.
Okay, so what does that word mean to you?
That we're simply connected to source. We are source.
Okay. Okay, and so you know why particularly I use one form and the other form? Huh? Because, okay, simply the way I look at it, and thank you for that. You right there. You right there in the right church in the right pew. So you're good. I use the term goddess because for me it means divine feminine energy. Okay? And then God obviously is the male counterpart, so it's divine male energy. And she is correct. It is the essence of who we are, although we are often taught that we are something far less than that and something different than that, but it is who we are in our essence. And so it's why I titled this Unleashing the Goddess and God in You, and why I greeted you as goddesses and gods in order to invoke your highest self. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay. So,
You must remember, Balin, that we are Canadians, and therefore we never come out like the Americans do and say, we're this and we're number one. So I think unleashing the goddess in us takes a little bit more time. But we will come out. We will get there. We just don't get to it from the start.
okay, all right.
I think that's fair.
That's okay, good. Now, before I kind of just launch into things, I was thinking to myself, I think there was some few questions you wanted to ask me, if I remember correctly.
Well, I wanted to ask you about why, when we were sitting together, Shirley and I and Dolores, why you chose that particular poem that you read, that you just recited to us. It was maybe bringing out the sensuality, the goddess, and the goddess that in this circumstance seemed to be a being of femininity that not flaunted it, but just sort of in your own skin, knowing that you were oozing something other than, well, what am I trying to say in a church? A sexual person, a sexual being, like.
It's interesting that you started off with that question. But I think I read something else before that, I think, but regardless. The thing that I said to folks is, just to give you a little bit of background, my training is that I am a child and adolescent psychiatrist, which means I am a medical doctor, could have been a surgeon, could have been an obstetrician gynecologist. And in actuality, I actually wanted to be an OB-GYN. Made that decision when I was in junior high school. So found out what was necessary to get into college, get into medical school, and did the rotation in OB-GYN, and I was like, I love this work, but I cannot handle the sleep deprivation. So I said, okay, God, what you got for me now? Because I had no idea where to go from there. So I did the rotation in psychiatry and ended up really loving it, had no idea that I would. And in doing so, it took me on this journey. And it was a very, very unexpected journey. But of course, looking back, I can see that it was all designed to bring me to today. So in direct response to your question, I noticed that after I finished my training, I'm reading books by other authors on spirituality, and also one of my colleagues had written a book as well on traumatic brain injury. And I'm going, I want to write a book. And so things started coming, I started writing. I said, you know what, but this is like a lot of stuff that's already out there. So I'm gonna put this down, and I want to do something more meaningful. Now, you all have all heard that saying, be careful what you ask for, right?
Yes. You just might get it.
Yeah, you just might get it. So I met with someone, and one of the things he said to me, Carl, he had said to me, he said, he said two things to me. One of them was about that I would become a best-selling author. He said by 50. He said, so you should start writing. And so, of course, you know what happened, right? Anybody want to take a guess? Yeah, the fear kicked in. The fear kicked in big time. And I was like, oh no, oh. So, but of course, what happens is life will prompt us. Right? Y'all know that, right? Okay. So, one of my favorite Oprah sayings is she says, first you get a whisper, then you get a tap on the shoulder,
And then you
then you get a smack upside the head, and then the brick wall falls on you. So I started getting the whispers, which was I'm having conversations with some friends, and this is actually about 5 years later now. Having some conversations with some friends, and they said, when's your book coming out? Because we're talking about spirituality, and it's so interesting how things happen. At times I'm sitting under the hairdryer and thinking about a conversation I had with one of my friends, David, and all of a sudden I get inspired and I start texting. So he and my other friends they go, when's your book coming out? I'm like, oh. I go, okay, here come the whispers. And then, but I'm still just frightened, frankly, because I'm going, I don't know how to do this. I don't need training in this. And so then, it was about 2 years later, I worked for a nonprofit organization, and they started having the doctors clock in and out. And I said, okay, there goes the tap on the shoulders. Because I'm thinking to myself, I don't know, how many of you all know about what training we have to do in order to become a physician? Anybody really know about that?
Tons of people. Yeah.
Okay. For those who don't know, after high school, you're talking about 4 years of college, 4 years of medical school, and then for me as a child psychiatrist, another 5 years.
Internship.
Well, it's actually internship is the first year, and any additional year is it's all called residency now, but the first year specifically is the internship year. So I'm thinking to myself, I didn't go through all this to punch somebody's 10 o'clock. And I'm going, you best start writing. That's to get to writing. And so again, a little bit of here, something there, but still just the fear that just had me in its grip. And so the following year, again, I would get inspired and stuff that would overtake the fear, and I wrote my first big piece, which was chapter 4, called Storms, in that February. And Storms is about how the challenges that we experience in this life are actually ones that we should embrace. We should embrace them, we should marvel at them, because they bring forth gifts that we need to take with us on the journey. So, goddesses and gods, how many of y'all know that this is actually the hero and heroine's journey? How many of you all know that? Okay. Do you all know what I mean when I say that? No. Okay. By show of hands, who's familiar with Star Wars? Okay. And yeah, I'm a big Star Wars fan, so y'all hear me make some references. Okay. Who here is familiar with Harry Potter? Okay. Lord of the Rings? Okay. So essentially, that is the hero and heroine's journey. Okay. You have, in the case of Star Wars, Luke, who is the young unknown and discovering himself and who he is and why he's here, and that journey to become a Jedi. Harry Potter is the little boy who's well known with a scar on his head as an infant, and has to grow up and face the Dark Lord. That is the hero's journey, right? Okay. Lord of the Rings, Aragorn, who is the descendant of a king, who is a ranger and doesn't want to take on the role of being a king, but is asked to let go of that role and step into his role as king in order to again overcome the dark. That is the hero's journey. So we all clear on that?
Yes.
Okay. So the thing that I say is the storms test you. They test you and they bring forth the gifts, because you don't want to get to the Black Gate in Lord of the Rings and face 10,000 orcs and Sauron, and you don't have any tools in the toolkit. You've not been tested. You are not battle ready, right? Okay. You want to be Harry Potter and have to face the Dark Lord, and you haven't been tested. You don't have any tools in the toolkit, and frankly, you don't have Hermione. Okay. So that's what that means. That's why you want to embrace that. Okay, everybody following me?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm getting the prompts, and so I start to get it, and so I'm starting to write, and I said, you know what? I don't have to know how to do this. I don't. All I have to know to do is to be willing. Because in my journey, what I'm discovering is that part of me, that goddess, that divine essence, knows how to do this already. All I have to do is just be willing to be open. And as soon as I did that, then the content started flowing within 2 weeks. You know, my questions about having my own voice, about having my own writing style, about generating the content on a regular basis, I decided to let all of that go and just to say, you know what, I'm just gonna let it do what it do. I'm gonna just let my divine essence just flow through me.
Oh, excuse me, Balin. So at this point, the hero, the heroine, and the goddess, are they in conflict right now, or can you differentiate how the two are going to propel you forward?
No, I think, and Joseph, let me just say this real quick. Joseph Campbell was actually a professor at Sarah Lawrence College, and he studied all these world mythologies and discovered that there were ubiquitous characters and themes. Star Wars, George Lucas took a class on him, and Star Wars is actually based upon that work, which is why it's so hugely successful, because these are so relatable. So it's not that they're in conflict with each other, it's just that it's one way of looking at the same thing. You know, one of the things that I say is that all of this wisdom is old wisdom. The only thing that differs is the presentation, but it's the presentation that matters.
True.
Right? It's the presentation that matters. And so, as a child psychiatrist, the blessing for me, I think, and for those who are able to hear from me, is that I see things through the lens of a child psychiatrist. And so I relate to things in that way. So, and also, I didn't forget your original question. That's just way down the road. And I'll tell you what she's talking about. She's talking about the chapter that's titled Sensuous Kiss. That's what she's talking about. And the other thing about me is we're multi-dimensional human beings with different aspects to us. For me, being spiritual is the essence of who we are, but if everything flows from that, it doesn't exclude anything. And that includes our sensuality, as I also said. So I write about love, but it's about two joined souls. So it ain't about hookup. Okay. Most of us are not living as monks and nuns, in the monastery or the convent. We are people and human beings. This is human beings living life, and they're intertwining of the two. So it's multidimensional. You guys okay with that? Okay.
I was thinking, going back to the hero and the goddess, when I feel strong, I feel heroic. When I feel kind of sort of feminine and sort of not submissive, but then that's the goddess. So I don't know how to blend the two together to be powerful with the two components. I think I either have to choose one or the other. So maybe there's a way that you know that we can do both.
Thank you for that wonderful segue. No, to be honest with you, because I'm sitting here going, okay, there's something I want to talk about, but I gotta figure out how to get back around to it. And of course,
Maybe God is here.
That's what happens when we're open. That's what happens when we're open.
And no rum punched either.
So here's the thing that I think is most important for all of us to know. In part of my writing, God is having conversations with me. So the other thing too that I want you all to know about me is I call God by many different names, just as other people do. I'll call him God sometimes, divine on others, one. I call God beloved. I call God truth, law. Other people call him Allah, Atman. Some refer to him as feminine, masculine. And in my writing, I'm actually referring to him as masculine because I said it's just how I grew up. It's just a reference I used when I grew up. But for me, God is just divine energy. God is so, as divine energy and the source of everything, it has no gender. And one of the things God said to me is, he said, I am that I am all there is. So if God is all there is, then is there something that one is not? That God is not? No? Okay. So that means he's you, that means he's me, that means he is the chair, that means he's everything. And the perceptions that we have, that we taught, I call it the many layers of living, that as we grow up, we are taught separation. And you heard Grisha speaking of that. It's the
choice.
assertive, strong, or is it the female?
Yes. Submissive.
Yeah, submissive, passive. And we're beings. So we have all of that in us. And you need different things, different aspects of your human existence at different times. Right?
Mm-hmm. You jump into different roles at different circumstances.
Yes. Yes. So I was going to ask you, is it okay if I read you a little something?
Yeah.
Mhm. What page you on?
Okay, this is actually page 1. It's from chapter 1, titled He Is, We Are. The creator of all that is has many names, as we are many people. This includes the one, the divine, God, source, universal consciousness, eternity, beloved, and many others. Some are used interchangeably, but I like calling him the divine because it reminds me of his magnificence and our divinity. He is the morning sunrise and the evening sunset. He is the desert sands and the world's vast oceans. He is the sweet twitter of a bird, the thick, luscious green grass, and the hypnotic savannas of the motherland. He is everything that we can think of and that which is yet to be revealed. There is no place where he is not, and nowhere he has not been. Stretch your hand outwards, and he is there. Journey to the stars and see him twinkling at you. He creates with infinite vision. His splendor is unbounded and will carry you where he wills it, even unto the corners of forever. His depth surpasses man's known reach, and his heights stretch beyond the farthest reaches of every imagination. All at once, he is one and he is billions. There is nothing that he is not because he is everything, and everyone including you. He is the beggar and the inchworm. He is the prince and the king of the bride. Everywhere you turn, you see his likeness and creations. Everywhere you turn, you see him. Now, who are you? Who are you? You are him. That which he created as an expression of himself to be like him. You embody all that he is. He is eternal, as are you. If you are wondering, how can I be him? Easily. The same way the ocean can be the ocean. When you scoop out a cup of ocean water, it has all the same properties, all the same abilities, all the same contents as the larger body does. So when you scoop a cup of ocean water out, you are the ocean that remains the ocean. You are him in compact form. Or as the Persian poet Rumi said, you are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. Did you all know that? Yes. Did you know that you were the entire ocean in a drop? Yeah, how awesome is that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Gives you a new look on things, doesn't it? Yeah, so again, how do we get to this place of thinking that we were less than the entire ocean in a drop? Again, because of many layers of living, I call it. I love little children because they remind me most of what God is like. And, their joy, their spontaneity, they're willing to take risks, their innocence. And my daughter, she was telling me about the first time she went snowboarding. And she was with a friend and she was having trouble standing up. And there was this little girl over there going, "Rock your back! Rock your back!" Because the kids, they just get out there and do it. And then they learn how to do it and they want to help somebody else. So the other thing I think is important to remember is people cannot identify and connect and relate to your light, you as divine beings, if they cannot recognize it in themselves. Right?
Yes. Right.
So, and something that I think was one of the adolescents, and the kids that I see, I call them my kids. She was actually biracial, living in the southern part of Illinois. I'm from Chicago, and still reside there. And so she was getting a lot of, negative feedback, we'll call it. And so this was causing her to be depressed. It was causing her to actually start cutting on herself. And I was trying to figure out a way of how to connect to her and tell her, to get her to understand this. And Tyler Perry has this saying that it ain't what people call you, is what you answer to. And so I'm trying to get her to see how get her to understand this. And so I talk about this in chapter 9, and I say to her, the name I came up with her to use as an alternate identity, I call her Layla in the book. And I said, is your name Mary? And she said, no. So would you answer to that? She said, no. I said, why not? She said, because it's not my name. I said, is your name Amy? And she said, no. I said, well, would you answer to that? She said, no, because it's not my name. I said, what if I called you James? Would you answer to that? She said, no, because it's not my name. And I said, so why are you answering to that other mess? You all hear me? Yes. So regardless of how people see you or think about you, what's most important is what you see and think about yourself. Don't answer, it's a mess. Okay? I'll tell you, share another little something with you is many of us were on our own paths where we encountered the same struggles, the same difficulties, the same suffering. Oftentimes when people have whatever people deem as success, we see ourselves as separate and different from them. And I want you all to know that I'm like many of you all. In the U.S., 70% of people have experienced trauma. So I have experienced physical abuse, sexual assault, and depression. And so I am like many people. And my journey has been one of removing those layers to discover who I am in my essence and to live life from that place and from that purpose. One of the things that happened when I was, like I said, I knew I wanted to be a doctor since junior high school. And when I graduated from college, I was tired, I was burned out. I was like, I need a break. And I ended up also making the decision to become a single parent. And y'all can imagine how well that went over. So, somebody said to me, well, you should just leave that on, you just, now you're focusing your daughter, you can't go to medical school. And one of my friends, he said, you never have to go to doctor. And I thought to myself, that's just your view. That has nothing to do with me. I'm going on here to do this. And so it was extremely difficult. I felt, okay, some days I just sat out and cried. That being said, though, I trusted God that He was going to meet my needs. And what I discovered was there wasn't quote unquote an abundance of help, but there was always enough. There was always enough. So, I might have some help from this person one time, and like my brother-in-law, there was a pharmacology tutorial that I wanted to go to. It was actually much better than going to the class, but it met kind of in the evenings. So he stepped up and kept my daughter that one day a week while I went to that. So, and I was deeply grateful for that. And then at different times it might be somebody else. So that's one of the things that's really important is we have to trust and be open. And, as I said, we're taught that we're separate from God. God is up here, we're down here. And I have to tell you, as a child psychiatrist, when people said that I should be grateful that He, bothers with me or whatever, as a child psychiatrist, that doesn't make any sense to me. What child should be grateful that their parent bothers to be bothered with them? That's their responsibility, right? That's what everybody says. If you don't do what you're supposed to do, they call DCFS on you. They're going to call Child Protective Services on you. So no, I got a different view about that relationship that I have with my divine parents. And so we're not separate from Him. We are Him and He is us. We are all that He is. We are all, He is us and we are Him. And even in ourselves, we get taught separation. We get taught we're separate from each other. We get taught that we're separate within ourselves. People call it the good and the bad, the light and the dark, and the shadow. And I think that it's important to look at yourselves and learn to embrace all that you are, because you are a whole being. And the other thing is when you deny, minimize, ignore, push aside all that you are, those parts that want your attention and need healing and want inclusion, they become like the uninvited party guest. You know what I'm talking about? The one who comes and vomits on your carpets. And breaks your furniture. And is loud and obnoxious. You know, or as Iyanla Van Zandt says, when you try to ignore like negative emotions, it's like trying to take them and sticking them up under the sofa and acting like they went somewhere. Like you would do with trash or garbage. Stick it up on the sofa and acting like it went somewhere. And in the meantime, it's just getting more nasty and more stinky. So it's important to embrace all that we are and to heal that into and to literally kind of bring it in, put your arms around it and say, it's all right, baby, it's all right. God has got this. We are all one. We are all connected. And that's the other part of this. Once you understand that, I cannot harm you without harming myself.
That's a big one.
I cannot harm the planet without harming myself.
Balin, how did you get to this point where you've just been telling us about all these obstacles and all the challenges throughout all this time? What grounded you in your spirituality or faith to keep you on the track to know that you're going to come out in the other end? With your daughter and going to school and all those things.
You know, that's an interesting question because it was different at different times. As I said about being a physician, I just always had faith. I just always knew that I could. I just knew that I could. And even when I talked to a couple of people about doing this as a single parent, and I still just felt that I could. Now, the fact of the matter is, when I got in there, though, when I got to medical school, I was like, oh, well, let's think of that baby. She was 11 months old when I started medical school. And so I was like, uh-oh.
Well, maybe that's
this is not how I thought it was going to be. So I had to adjust. And one of the things I did was I went into the 5-year program, which meant the first 3 years was spread out over 2 years. Her dad did step up to help. And so that's what I meant. But at the time when I did this, he wasn't available. This was me and her. Yeah. So that's what I mean. It's one of those things that where at that point that was a confidence. When we get to the point though about writing the book, I had no confidence. I had no confidence, and so it was. But again, my understanding that when we have a calling and a purpose, whatever that is, and you don't live it out, then the prompts are going to be increasingly harder and more difficult. And I was thinking, I really don't want to deal with that smack upside the head or the brick wall falling on me. I really, really don't. So I'm going to have to figure out a way to keep putting one foot in front of the other. And before I go into that, I just wanted to read you a little something out of chapter 2 called Tapestry. And it's about the oneness of everything. We are all part of the grand web of life, connected by shimmering gossamer strands that pass to and through every being and entity. The strands are interwoven like the threads of a fine tapestry. It is a rich tapestry,